Mitchell like an 88 or 89 on the game.
But he's having a down season.
Well, the blueprint's out.
Right.
Like, he was new. He was fresh. He was like the greatest show on turf. Once people catch up to it, it's like, oh, we know what you do now. They got the scouting report. But back to the coaches getting fired. Bowles, they draft. A thing I hate about a lot of these teams that fired these guys, these are teams that had first-year quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Because even Harbaugh was on the seat. Ravens Harbaugh was on the seat until Action Jackson came through and saved the day.
Action Jackson.
I want that to stick.
Right. Hey, that's hard.
I want that to stick.
Speaking of that, they need to do a remake of Action Jackson.
Absolutely.
A reboot. They need that.
But
Michael B. Jordan.
Oh,
hey, let's write this script.
that's fire.
I gotta find another Vanity though.
Lauren London loses like 15
Nah.
pounds.
She fine regardless.
Right.
All right. But I needed that. Like, she's fine, but like, I need you to drop 15 for this role and then put it back on.
Nah, I don't want no smoke with Nipsey. He's ready to fight at the Laker game when they was fighting on the court.
Straight slap the ballet dude.
I don't want no smoke with Album of the Year candidate Nipsey Hussle.
What about what's the face? I don't want to go too much to tangent on this Bone Bucks, but
We'll have to discuss that on our other pod, Country Cousins.
what's the other one called?
It's called Country Cousins.
What's it called?
It's called Country Cousins.
One more time. Say it like it's Beetlejuice.
We keep it 100, Country Cousins.
Thank you.
And where can we find that at?
Oh, you can subscribe on Apple, iTunes Store, Podcast Store, Google Play.
Spotify!
Hey, we even have a YouTube. You can watch the YouTube. There's no videos or nothing of us, but we could work on that.
For you. Anyways, let's go back to the coaches. The first-year quarterbacks.
Oh, the Jets. Jets had Sam Darnold, right?
Sam Darnold.
Who wasn't that great at USC.
No.
Overhyped, like Matt Leinart.
The Cardinals.
Bro, that's anytime you say Matt Leinart, that's all I think.
Dude, bro.
Dude, where's my car?
Dude.
Cardinals had Josh
Rosen.
Right, from UCLA.
The Bucks, he didn't. The Bucks never had an identity.
Bucks just need, if Le'Veon goes to the Bucks, they'll be solidified on offense.
Dang, you was real quick with the tangent. We forgot to talk about the Broncos.
The Broncos.
Vance.
Speaking of the Broncos, until John Elway is replaced, I will forever root against the Broncos. John Elway has
a.k.a. horse mouth.
Wilbur. He has I'll say backwards way of thinking, an old school way of thinking when it comes to quarterbacks and just old school mentality and things of that nature, right? So Vance,
even though he wasn't an old school quarterback,
right? Vance been there 2 years?
This was his second year.
Second year.
He went 5-11 and he went +1 and went 6-10.
Right. So
with a terrible quarterback.
No, not even terrible quarterback. Quarterback was terrible, right? But they lost too many key pieces. Lost a safety, T.J. Ward. Lost Hakeem Talib as a
who they traded. Didn't they trade? Yeah, they traded
for a pack of chicken nuggets.
For
Raising Cane.
Nah, for some Newport shorts and a soft pack. That's what they traded him for.
But then they also got rid of Demaryius Thomas.
Demaryius Thomas. That's what I'm saying. So you trade away these key pieces, these big time players, and now you say, hey, coach, you need to work with what you have. And then
I don't have nothing. You can give me some Lego pieces. I got more.
Right. Emmanuel Sanders went down.
Right. All they had, they were basically the Panthers. It was their quarterback throwing into their running back.
Facts.
And then he got hurt.
What's his name? Lindsey?
Philip Lindsay.
Who knows? Like,
who only made the Pro Bowl team because Kareem Hunt likes to Fight Club.
Hey. There's one rule in Fight Club.
Don't talk about Fight Club.
Exactly. Hey, we take domestic violence here seriously at Ball and Buckets.
So, if your bitch got a line, whoop that trick. Whoop that trick.
The views expressed here by Dub and Greg Hardy, and Greg Hardy Dub only. I threw on a stack of guns. Then I beat her because she messed up my guns.
You didn't see that coming. Come on.
No, I
I
didn't.
did. I was ready for that.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Hey, man.
We
But yeah.
together, but we not together. Kind of like the Steelers.
But no, great
Let's
segue.
talk about domestic issues in house.
Great segue. Because I was about to go in on Broncos, but hey, that's a great segue. Let's talk
Who's
about Steelers.
let's before we even get onto that, let's do a quick checklist. Le'Veon Bell starts off. I'll sit the whole season out. Now, which is funny to me because people threaten that all the time.
Right.
He's like, no, I'm doing it. No, you ain't. Yeah, I'll report on. I'll see you Tuesday, 11:30. Okay, 3:30.
Then Pouncey comes out and says,
We don't need you if you don't want to be here or something.
right.
Okay, so
So you big bad offensive lineman now. Very well.
so Antonio's got a couple of outbursts throughout the season. I think sometimes he acts like a bitch because Schuster is motherfucking a monster. But anyways,
No. Schuster is only a monster because Antonio Brown is there.
this is true.
Brown is getting double covered. Nobody's looking for Schuster.
So Brown's got his little upset things here and there, and then he has his final outburst the last game. So he wants out. What else you got? Raplesburger. I hate Ben Roethlisberger, by the way. Fuck yourself.
God.
You get 2 rape charges, and you
What did you call him?
Ben Rapelessburger. And also dumb no motorcycle helmet.
I don't understand how Mike Tomlin is always on the hot seat.
Well, this year you should have been in the Super Bowl.
They were 9-6-1 with all the dysfunction you just said.
Well,
Not to mention they lost their best linebacker last year to
freak accident.
Neck injury. Neck and back
right?
injury.
Like he might, they were saying he might not walk again,
Bro,
let alone play again.
I watched that play and he went limp. When I seen his hands go limp and just spread out, I knew he was out.
But he was their best. You can't replace your best linebacker usually that quick.
Your best defensive player, period.
Right. The heart of your defense. So you lost your best receiver, damn near your best receiver too with Le'Veon.
Yep.
You lost 50% of your offense. You lost another 60% of your defense, and you still went 9-6-1 in a pretty tough division.
But then let me ask you this: then we talk about accountability. We got to talk about like where there's smoke, there's fire. There seems to be a lot of in-house problems in Pittsburgh. So who does that fall on then?
Shit, the players. Why is it always the coach fault if motherfuckers is fighting each other in the locker room? What I heard and what I've seen on the cycle is Brown wanted credit for making Raplesburger the type of quarterback numbers that he has put up the last couple of years. Because let's face it, Antonio Brown has put up Madden numbers for the last 5 years, right?
Facts. He's on pace to break Jerry Rice records.
And it wasn't because Ben was just magically throwing all this stuff open.
Mm-hmm.
He was really breaking, 18-yard outs for
Because
60 yards.
Brown runs really good routes. He's not very big. He just runs perfect routes.
No, don't say really good. He runs great, pristine routes.
I said perfect routes.
No, what you said really good routes.
He
at
is
first.
what Amari Cooper wants to be. Right? And no disrespect to Amari, because Amari has done great with the Cowboys. Right? But nobody runs like Brown. Maybe Odell.
Maybe Marvin Harrison.
Ocho Cinco, when he knew the playbook, would run. No, Cincinnati, Chad ran perfect routes.
Chad was a route runner. He wasn't great speed.
No, but like when he got to New England, it was too complicated for him.
Chad was like Reggie Wayne to me.
Ooh.
Because Reggie wasn't like freakish athletically.
He just ran a perfect route.
He wasn't going to be a number one when Marvin went out, but he was number one.
Yep.
That's true.
Top 5 receivers, no matter how you slice it, is Hopkins, AB, Odell, Julio, and motherfucking number 5. Like, nobody cares about who number 5 is, right?
Damn.
What's number 5?
Tyreek Hill or somebody. Like, you could throw a lot of names.
What about Mike Thomas?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Or
all them dudes are like the
Mike
same
Evans.
name.
Mike Evans.
But, like, totally break the game. open, like you got a game plan for them.
Like $95 million worth.
Cause let's face it, that's the list. That's the short list. You can throw Mike Thomas in there because he's kind of the only big receiver they have.
Mike Evans also.
Shitty team, shitty stats.
Yes and no. Yes and no. But back to the Steelers, as we were talking about. I think the Steelers have. This has been the Steelers over the last few years. You know what I mean? Like dysfunctional. It started with in recent memory, started with Le'Veon. You know what I mean? Le'Veon said, "Hey, holding out." He held out last year because he ain't get paid. You need to pay Le'Veon. Le'Veon has shown you he's the top 2. He's in the top 2 running backs in the league. Period.
Right. Top 5 no matter what.
Top 5 no matter what. But even when it was always Le'Veon and another guy being mentioned as the top backs in the league.
Gurley.
Le'Veon and Gurley. Le'Veon and David Johnson.
Right.
David Johnson. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So it's always been Le'Veon is someone,
right.
but Le'Veon has always been mentioned. Le'Veon run routes like a receiver. Pay that man. But then you chose to pay Brown. And what's my dude name? That's worked for ESPN now. They used to Ryan Clark. Shout to that noob J5 coming. Yo baby yo. Ryan Clark said AB. They seen these issues coming up with AB before he signed his big contract when they had AB, Mike Wallace, and Manuel.
Bryant. Martavius Bryant.
No. This before Bryant. This is when Sanders was there. Emmanuel Sanders, Mike Wallace, and AB. AB was like a 5th, 6th round pick.
What's my buddy that caught the touchdown in the end zone in the Super Bowl?
Plaxico?
The short one.
Santonio.
So, that was after him. So Mike Wallace is up for his contract. Mike Wallace signed with Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
And they knew Mike Wallace was on the walk, so they said they was going to sign Antonio Brown. But AB had this ego, like, hey, I'm a franchise. You can't tackle me like this in practice. You can't hit me like this in practice. So those problems always been there.
But then he showed you he was right.
Right, but what I'm saying is, you see these problems already in the beginning. They just manifest themselves because now they're losing. When they was winning, it's all good.
Matter.
It didn't matter. Oh, that's AB being AB.
Well, what's the historical categorizing? There you go. Of wide receivers.
Prima donnas.
The TOs, the Ocho Cincos, all
Michael Irvins.
Michael Irvin.
Go ahead and get you a Cowboy in there.
Right.
But it doesn't matter to me if you're the look at me guy. If you're producing. He's always produced.
Fair.
Now, if he's dogging it just to get his stats, that's another thing. But at the same time, he's been their focal point.
Right.
And it's worked. I don't think he was he bitching because Juju was getting some yards this year?
Earlier he was.
No. He was never bitching about other players. He was bitching about the stats like, hey, you should have thrown me the ball in these situations. We lost, but I only had 5 targets. That's what he was bitching about.
But that's fair.
Right.
Like, that's the stuff that we get mad at coaches about. If your best player, i.e. Julio, all these guys are getting 5 targets and they are the fucking franchise, your offensive coordinator gets to get fired.
Which he did, actually.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
The head coach got fired.
the accountability isn't on the player to call the play.
Unless you're a player for Andy Reid. Because Andy Reid, a great play caller, he a great schemer. He makes sure his best players
get targets. Yeah.
Tyreek Hill.
He gonna get them in a position to make
Kelsey.
a play. But that's what you do.
Right.
Like, I don't care what game I'm playing. I'm like, shit, dude only got 30 yards. I need to go to him. I'm going to go to him 3 times just to see if some shit work.
Big facts. It's just like when we hooping.
If somebody high, you get on the ball.
Feed him the rock.
But you got to feed the guy that runs the lane. If you get the rebound, you kick it to me, and you run hard, you get the rock.
Oh, yeah.
You got to feed those animals to keep them going. You got to feed an AB ego to keep him motivated. Dude about to be 32 years old.
Nah, he ain't that old.
He old.
AB?
AB old.
No, AB probably.